Welcome to Thursday night with Star Wars on High. Why does the intro get slow? Is that not weird to anybody else? The intro,
It's twice now that it's just been slow.
it really kills the vibe. I feel like I got to get pumped up, but instead it comes in dreary. So we have to bring the excitement. But we are here. Welcome, everyone, to Thursday night with the Gabbing Gonks. We've made another week. We are still alive. It is a blessing that we're here to be able to talk Star Wars with you guys once again. Let's go around the pyramid. Let's see how everyone's doing. Let's start at the bottom. Ben, man, how's your week going? How are you doing today?
Guys, I'm well and alive. Like you said, it's a blessing to be alive another day. Share it with your family, share it with your friends. Enjoy more of Star Wars. So one of my posts this week that I tweeted on Twitter, just like my favorite authors and the new batch of Star Wars essentials that we're going to talk about. And guess who replies to my tweet?
Who?
Michael Stackpole. And it totally made my week.
Oh, that's awesome. It's really cool to me when creatives interact with their fans, right? I think it's a really cool thing they can do to kind of make themselves feel like
they're part of us.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're accessible, they're out there, they're paying attention to what the fans are saying. I mentioned something about the second cover of the second X-Wing book that's coming out. It is brilliant cover. Everybody loves it. And he's like, "You're so gracious. Thank you." I'm like, oh my God. That feels so good.
That is really cool. That is awesome. Jimmy?
Which is crazy because I also had an interaction with Michael Stackpole.
All right.
about the same thing, because I had commented on Del Rey's post about the new covers, and I was like, I said I love the color theme that they're doing with the X-Wing books because it's a very like uniform look.
It is.
And he liked that tweet, and I was like, and I hope you're having an excellent day. He said, well, this message is a great way to get my day started. And I was like, let's go. I'm in.
Oh, that's sweet.
I've
also I managed to snag a hardcover copy of the Cestus Deception by Stephen Barnes. That should be here on Monday.
Look at you go.
Right,
Jimmy, if you guys
fancy Clone Wars novels.
Yeah, if you can't tell, Jimmy is sick again. Jimmy is always
every week it's something. I've had a sinus infection since Sunday. This is the best I've felt. I just can't breathe.
Oh no, I feel better, man.
But he made it. He made it for us. He made it for the stream. Everyone.
Something.
That's worth a like, right? That's worth.
That's what I'm going to be doing. It's like, so what's it this Thursday? And I'm like, well, tax evasion.
Your healing begins with injection a dose of Star Wars into your veins. Like
exactly. I laid down in bed. I took some Dayquil and I turned on Empire Strikes Back.
You did?
Yeah,
nice.
I did.
Nice.
And then I played some Lego Star Wars.
See, there you go.
And I feel better. I'm just telling, it works.
I'm a fan of that. I love when you're sick, getting that kind of, in that comfort mode. Let me ask you this, Jimmy, as we're letting folks roll in here.
Yeah.
Want to talk about some upcoming releases. One thing I'm curious about, Crimson Reign. Are you caught up with Crimson Reign?
If issue 3 has come out, I have not read it, but I did read issue 2.
Okay. So that I think issue 3 came out relatively recently. I think issue 4 drops next week.
I was curious. Okay.
I was curious what you think, so you'll have to catch up and tell me because I haven't been following it. And
I'll tell you, for the first 2 issues, it's not going where I expected it to go. Granted, I wasn't exactly sure. It's weird, if you read the first issue, the very first page pretty much kind of tells you how the story is going to end.
Yeah,
because you're fine.
Read something.
There's just specific key characters that are like, okay, so. Got it. It's just you put 2 and 2 together and you're like, I understand.
Yeah.
So, but it's more exciting now is because, it's the whole thing. It's like, why do you make a prequel if you know how it ends? Well, I want to know how it got there. I want to know what happens leading up to that point, which is why I think Rogue One was such a success.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And we're getting really cool character development on a lot of characters, including the Knights of Ren and Ochi. So.
We were talking about some Crimson Reign because I want to talk about some upcoming book releases. We're letting folks roll in. It will kind of filter into our first story, which is some of the upcoming novels I'm excited for. And first of all, I'm excited for this box set. I tagged you guys on Twitter with this.
Softcover or hardcover?
That I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they are strictly paperback.
I agree. I do really like, though, that for a new fan, especially, or maybe someone who hasn't been buying them individually, you can get all 3 of the updated novels with some cool box art. Like, I think this could be cool. I'd love to see the full thing, but this comes out at the end of May. and
Nice.
I didn't know it was coming, but I think it's really cool. I'm excited about this. I don't know if I'll pick it up. I kind of want to see what it looks like, but I'd love it for like my shelf over here, or even back there. It's just kind of a cool piece with.
Does it have
like,
a price tag?
Let's find out.
Now, Josh, can I guys ask you, since you've been picking up on some of these essentials, I only got the 3 out of those books. Is the cover, that little tiny issue, still going on? It's still a thing?
I have been waiting. I have not bought another one since the first wave. I've been kind of waiting.
There's a
Those of you
lot
who are not
now.
aware, this is what I'm talking about. I got a first couple of books, right?
Mhm.
As you can see, the first Bane one. And I mean, it's the tiniest thing. It's a very, very small thing where like the cover doesn't completely go over the front of the page. It's a minuscule thing. I know a lot of people don't even mind, but Josh, you and I, we talked about it off screen, right? Like, hey, like, what is this? Is it like a small little imperfection, or is it deliberate? Like, why would they do it this way? So I'm kind of hesitant. Like, I want to pick up all of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So it's $45, I think, for the box set, or maybe 40.
That's not bad.
No, one of the
Not
reasons I like this is, in theory, it should protect the soft covers because they're in a box, from getting really scuffed up. And so I'll wait and monitor it. I'd love to go pick this up at like Target, Barnes and Noble, somewhere I could just go pick it up and look at it. I absolutely think I'm going to be looking for this in the end of the
Same
month.
deal we had with Legends books as well, if you guys can see them. Same thing. It's a soft
I love
cover,
that, yeah.
just like a box over it, but you're essentially getting the same thing you would get with a regular paperback. So that's what we're all assuming it's going to be, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
I don't know, because if I bought it, I'd never take them out. It would stay in the box.
I think I
Yeah,
literally
pretty
want to
much.
get them. I think I kind of want to get them for display. You know,
And
I think
it's
really
hard
cool
for me too, because like I own the original Thrawn trilogy in paperback, and I'm casually looking to get them in hardcover.
Yeah.
But like I'm going to sit here with 3 copies of the same book,
I get it.
and it's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about another book that I'm hearing a lot of really good early buzz on.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of like folks in the community who've been able to read Brotherhood early before it releases in just a couple weeks say it is really, really good,
Nice.
which is honestly very encouraging because I was excited about this. I wasn't like I wasn't at the same level as maybe other projects because again, it's an era we know, it's an era I love, but it's not as maybe fresh, you know. And so I wasn't sure what it was gonna add to the story, but it seems like early buzz is really positive. So in a couple weeks, I plan to pick up Brotherhood and see what it's all about. So I'm excited. Are you guys gonna pick up Brotherhood?
First day. I love equal era novels. Like, I know I'm going to dig it already. Like,
So
I have that preconceived.
I get every book pre-ordered, so I get it day of release or next day, depending on shipping. I am excited for it because I think it's going to be a great story. I'm a little hesitant though because I was seeing nothing but great reviews about Midnight Horizon, and I had a slug through that book.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want me to convince you right now
I mean,
that it's
Tell
going to
me.
be amazing?
I'm excited.
Sure.
Tell me.
I mean,
All
tell
right,
me.
just look at the center of that cover. What do
Mhm.
you see?
I see that this is the original cover because they didn't tweak this one yet.
Right,
Because
but do you see
Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan Kenobi's beautiful face?
I do. I see him holding Anakin's lightsaber, and Anakin
That's all
still
you need.
doesn't have his robotic
That's
hand.
it.
This is an
That's
old
the color
cover
right there.
Oh no, I'm gonna love this book no matter what. I'm just, I'm worried because of what happened with the last one.
I think we're all a little bit more worried about something else that is about to come out soon.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not worried about anything. I'm ready to go. I'm so pumped. Guys, so first of all, on the Brotherhood note, I am excited to read this one. I'm definitely going to read it. I'll get it on Audible, listen in. It'll be fun to visit the prequel era in books. I haven't really read a lot of prequel era stories. I still need to read Dooku Jedi Lost, which is
Dude,
so sad I haven't. Yeah, I
good.
know. It's so sad I haven't. I have to do it like soon. So this will be added to my list to stick around with the era.
Josh, when you said read, you're going to audio it, right?
Yes, I'm going to listen to it. And I guess in the case of Dooku Jedi Lost, that's kind of how it was originally intended, right? So I guess I will be, doing the right thing, right? So there we go. Well, that brings us in to story number 1. The reason we're talking about books is there was some new Essentials covers released this week. Let's go ahead and pull them up. They are, in my opinion, another really, really fun addition to the collection. Let's get it rolling here. We have 3 novels on the docket. We have, of course, let's see, the 3rd book in the Rogue Squadron series. We have Darth Maul, Shadowhunter, and we have Death Troopers. We'll get the up-close view here. We'll start with the Krytos Trap. The first one was red, right?
Yep.
And the second one was blue.
Indeed.
And the third one is green.
Which
and
is
we have the
perfect
red and
because
blue
look,
eye.
yeah.
Exactly. Really, really like this cover. What do you guys think? First of all, I think I know the answer, but let's just say it anyway. Tell me, both of you, we'll start with Jimmy. Have you read this book, A, and B, how do you like the cover? Jimmy, go.
Have I read it? No. Do I like it? Yes.
Ben?
So I've read the book many times because I was trying to complete the X-Wing series several times and I never got past book 6. So now I'm starting over again since I got my channel. And I noticed something on this cover. They're no longer calling it the X-Wing series. They've rebranded it to the book 3 of the Rogue Squadron series, which only the first book originally was called Rogue Squadron. And from that point forward, those are the future. Critical Trap is a second X-Wing book. I don't think it's a big deal because it kind of makes sense. It's mostly about Rogue Squadron, even when they go sort of like rogue and disassemble the squadron just for a little while. But this book is phenomenal. Literally everything that Michael Stackpole touches, like as I said on my tweet, I wasn't just like kissing up to the author just to get his attention. Like I'm not from that generation. Like I'm just like throwing it out there. I use Twitter very casually and liberally.
He does.
But every time like I praise it is the reason for it, because every time he writes one of these books, they're phenomenal, guys. They're not just good. They're not great. He writes the exemplary, like benchmark Star Wars material.
These 3 covers have been fantastic. As a collection, they're amazing. I really like them. And I think this is a really strong cover as well. Really enjoy it. Okay. Well, on to the next in the series, we have Darth Maul, Shadowhunter. Okay, same question. Let's start with Ben this time. Have you read it? What do you think of the cover?
You guys are going to laugh. It's one of these novels that I honestly don't remember if I read it or not. It's been so long. Like, I'm pretty sure I read one of the Darth Maul novels, and it's definitely the first one because it came out earlier, but I can't remember it. I'm like, Ben, are you confusing it with some like comic book storyline? Oh, what's up? But regardless, that cover right there, I dare say, is even better than the original one. It's fantastic. I love the fact that he looks very stylized. He's not photorealistic. And dude, those highlights on his cape are just, they give me goosebumps, man.
Yeah, I love this one. Jimmy, what about you?
I have not read it. I own Maul Lockdown. Haven't read that one either. But no, I did not read this one, but I have to agree the artwork is phenomenal and is much better than the original cover. The original cover is just interesting.
Jimmy, do you get like a film noir vibe from it?
I really do. It kind of is giving it like Sin City vibes, but like I love that you can still tell I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Coruscant. That was on the original cover.
Yeah.
So I mean, this looks great, and like you said, like with the accents on the on his cloak, it looks damn good.
This cover's really good. I'm with your point, Ben.
The lack of color really makes it pop.
The reds look really defined, and to your point, Ben, I love that stylized instead of hyper realistic. It's really good. Really big fan. 2 for 2 on these new ones. And let's go to the third one. And spoiler alert, unfortunately, probably, I don't know. I don't think this is a bad cover, but I just like the other 2 better. This is for Death Troopers. Let's go down the list. Jimmy, have you read it? What do you think of the new cover?
I have read Death Troopers. It is a fantastic book. I like the original cover better. I see why they did this.
Yeah.
Because even when the original cover came out, my mom was like, I don't know if I want to get you this.
Yeah.
It's true.
I was like,
that's a good point.
Fair. However, counterpoint, buy it.
That's a good counterpoint.
What about you, Ben?
So 2 things on this cover. When you look at it like at the first glance, it has a couple of things going for it. Like I don't mind it compositionally. I really enjoy this stormtrooper superimposed in front of everyone else. Like, it's somewhat sound. What I question here is the execution. It's definitely very overly processed. It's a very Photoshop heavy, and it's very flat. Even when you look at all the markings on the front stormtrooper, it flattens him entirely. There's no sense of depth of it. It's like one of those instances when you look at some of the book covers, it's like, oh, okay, perhaps they had to. And again, nothing against the original artist, but it just doesn't have that level of artistry that the Darth Maul book, for example, has. Yeah. You see the human hand in it. You see the energy of the brush strokes. Here is just like layers in Photoshop, and I don't know. It's not working for me too much.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
For me, I actually really like the background stormtroopers more than the one in the front. if that makes sense. Like I almost kind of would have been fine if it was like a whole like cover of just a medley of the glowing eyes. You know what I mean? Like an almost like a collage or but it's like for me, this one just doesn't read the same. I don't know. It's just not
Can
my
we look
favorite.
at the original cover from?
I just sent it to Josh on
cool.
Twitter.
Thank you.
So that's what I was doing right now. You know, and the thing is, like, I don't mind it because it kind of has like an old comic book vibe to it. Like,
Yeah.
there's an old Batman movie that was in like this really abstract comic art, and that's kind of what it reminds me of. This is the original cover. As you can see, you know, I was in middle school when this came out. My mom was like, "I don't know if you should read that." It's pretty gruesome looking, like especially with what's hanging out of the bottom of that helmet.
That's true. It's a good point.
I wasn't crazy about this one either. It's very quick.
I
If
agree.
anything, I would say the new one is somewhat of an improvement, actually.
I kind of agree. I kind of prefer the stylized view of this one versus.
Interesting.
But hey,
interesting.
it's all opinion. But this is the next set of these Legends re-release, which have been such a good idea. I absolutely love that they're doing this. Keep doing it. And I kind of like how, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, or maybe it's just my perception, but it's like every wave seems to be kind of themed. Like these ones are all darker covers. We have like the dark green, we have the Darth Maul, then we have the Death Troopers. Like they're all, you know what I mean? And so it seems to be like they're kind of releasing them in themes of like color patterns and story. So anyway, I think these covers are another win. Like to me, the fact that they continue to support these, I assume these legend authors get like cuts of this, and I assume these, you know, these artists get. So it's really cool they keep supporting this ecosystem of these Legends books, even if they've, moved away from being in the main spotlight. They're still getting a lot of chance to shine. And when I went to Barnes and Nobles very recently, you could see these all over the place. You know what I mean? Like they're getting front and center on the floor. You can see them. They have beautiful covers. I see them at Target when I'm there. So I'm pretty pleased with the fact that these are getting some old Star Wars stories are getting a chance to shine because of these new covers. So I like 2 thumbs up. This is a great idea. I hope they keep doing this for years to come.
Definitely.
I
And
kind of suspect they also did it to kind of like reestablish the connection with the authors they still kind of want to use, because a lot of them are, let's face it and be real, are either retired or not interested or not available, or they just don't have the kind of talent that the new management wants. So they probably are getting the authors under the wing first. They're like, hey, we still want to use these guys. They wrote phenomenal novels. Let's re-release their novels first.
It's a good idea.
And, you know, I'm hoping that I understand it's essential. So like these are the ones you should definitely read, but I really hope they start to go into like some of the novels that are kind of like the hidden gems, you know, that didn't get a lot of love, but like had great stories.
You know what? I'd like it if they did that under like a different collections. Like instead of the essentials with gold, it could be like, you know, something Legends and has a different color scheme. Like maybe
silver,
it's like
silver, make it silver. That
maybe.
Star Wars always did silver and gold for anniversary stuff.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
So then you have like kind of different, like maybe more one-off novels. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. I'm cool with
These
that.
artists, the most like, and again, even though I'm not a huge fan of the Death Trooper one, I think the artists they're bringing into these covers are doing a fantastic job. Really excited. Okay, so we have 2 major stories tonight. We started off with some upcoming book releases. We're going to talk about the Lego Landspeeder, but we have 2 like giant stories we're going to use in between. And so I don't really know which one is bigger. They're both equally interesting. I think I'm going to start with what I consider to be the bigger announcement, which is the new game coming for Star Wars. If you guys have not heard, there is a new official confirmation. This is on Star Wars site confirming a new, and I'm going to read right off the site what they say here, a narrative-driven action-adventure game featuring an original story in the Star Wars galaxy. It is by the company Skydance New Media. You can see here Amy Hennig keeps getting called out. She wrote Uncharted. That's like why it's such a big deal, right? This is the company who helped with, I think, Jak and Daxter as well. I think that might even be
Jak and Daxter. Yep.
Yeah. But Uncharted, like for me, I will tell you, Uncharted, especially growing up, like those games blew me away.
Phenomenal games.
Blew me away.
Yeah.
Absolutely nailed the writing, the characters, etc. And so the fact that she is like 100% involved and like promoting it, and Star Wars is making a big deal about this announcement, this to me is absolutely fantastic, amazing news. If you guys haven't been following Star Wars games, it started off with like when Disney kind of took over and they started ramping up funds and putting focus into the games. We got we hit some snags, right? Battlefront was Battlefront 1 and 2 came out. They weren't like quite as good as the original. They had problems with microtransactions and things like that. And they were pretty like iffy received. Over time, Battlefront 2 kind of had a little bit of a resurgence when it started going on a bunch of sales and people started modding it, etc. It kind of had a little bit of a resurgence. But since then, I really think they've learned their lesson because we've had Fallen Order, which was absolutely amazing. We have 2 new games announced. We have Eclipse. We also have this game announced. We have Lego Star Wars, which is, obviously kind of a different company, but was amazing, right? Like things are completely starting to flip around where it's becoming like an actual medium to tell really impactful Star Wars stories, starting with the Fallen Order. And so to get a company who has a proven track record of telling like AAA action movie level stories with cutscenes, etc., getting some of that creative energy behind Star Wars and telling a completely new original story, to me is a massive deal. This is hugely exciting. It's opened up like a new way to tell entire Star Wars stories. I think this is absolutely phenomenal news. And I think there was a lot of excitement, but I think it might even be a little underplayed how exciting this is, at least to me. That's just my thoughts. Let's go around the line here. Let's start with Jimmy. Jimmy, what are your thoughts on the new announcement?
I think this is definitely a way big deal, and a lot of people are underplaying it. And I personally, I don't know why, but I'm taking offense to it because for starters, I can't tell you how many Star Wars games were canceled in development or early development because I know there was Star Wars 1313. Everyone was excited for. They canned it. They blamed Disney. Not Disney's fault. And then there was another project that was supposed to be an open world game that was supposed to feel kind of like Uncharted that was also canceled. And guess what? That game was also being created by Amy Hennig. Yeah. And now that she has her new company, she is the owner of Skydance New Media, making this new game. I want to think she's trying to revamp that original story she had brought, but since it says a new original story, calling back, I'm going to guess that they decided to take that old script, either revamp it or just try something completely new, and they're going to keep that same open world narrative style, which I think would be fantastic. We need this in Star Wars. I mean, as a Star Wars fan and two, a gamer, I want a big open world game in the universe that I love the most, which is Star Wars. So this is fantastic news. And since like you said, Uncharted, phenomenal series. Jak and Daxter, another I love both of those games so much. So for the creative minds from those games going into this, it's going to be something great.
What I'll say before we pass it over to Ben is like the thing about Uncharted. It's like it's right in line with like old Indiana Jones level, right? But to take something like a genre that's kind of been well explored, has a lot of cliches, and I think just really nail it. Like they really nailed the story in Uncharted. Like they really did. Like the characters were so inviting. The mystery and the treasure was always really fun. I think they just did an absolutely great job with kind of a really tried and true, like. To me, like when you think of like, okay, it's a young archaeologist looking for buried treasure. It's like, we've seen that a million times, right? But they still did such a phenomenal job executing it that it gives me a lot of excitement that what they can do to see, with Star Wars. So,
and they're always like really good surprises, like I'd say like right now with the first Uncharted game, no one will ever guess the ending. It's not possible.
It's true. Yeah, you're right. They do continue to surprise you throughout. To me, it's just phenomenal news. Get creative teams involved. It's really, really exciting. Ben, what do you think, my man?
I have slightly different read on this. Being a gamer all my life, like starting like Dinosaur, 8-bit Famicom, and just seeing how the industry has grown over the decades. It became like this multi-billion-dollar industry. Sometimes announcing a game too early can misfire because there's insurmountable hype attached. Like in the instance of the Kingdom Hearts 3, which I can't talk about the quality of the game because I haven't played or finished it myself yet, but I know a lot of my close friends whose judgment I trust were not disappointed, that's too big of a word, but underwhelmed.
Because I was underwhelmed.
Right? And sometimes it may not have necessarily have to do with the quality of the game, but just that anticipation and hype.
Expectations,
talking. Right, you keep building on top of it until the game can never realize what you were dreaming about for the X amount of years.
I waited 12 years for
one
that game.
Thing, right? The second thing is I'm really, really excited that Hennig is behind this because Uncharted games to me represent this. I was a huge Tomb Raider fan since it dropped on PlayStation 1. And obviously, the Uncharted series was as a nod to it and saying, hey, we knew what came before. We knew the legendary Tomb Raider game. Let us do our thing now. And where Tomb Raider gameplay focused game, story was always secondary. Let's be honest with you. Like, we don't remember Tomb Raider for its story. Only the remakes ones kind of amped it up. But the original ones, they were all about exploration and fun. Uncharted brought film quality storytelling into AAA games, because a lot of AAA games, they're just there. Sometimes the storyline is just there for the ride. It's like, oh yeah, all right, I'm playing Devil May Cry. Let's kick some ass. But in case of Uncharted, we know that we root for these characters. We know we love them. You know, with Nathan's family and the things that happen in Part 4, your heart follows that character. I want to see that in the AAA Star Wars game, and not just the Star Wars setting to play like, hey, you get to play around in this world, but the story is really secondary. It's a really great opportunity here, just like with the Jedi Fallen Order. Even though we got one truly single-player, super quality game in this entire EA run, god damn, it's a good game.
Yeah.
Right? Because the story is there. You follow with it. That's what I want from Henning's company to focus on good story.
Well, I think, and so well said, Ben, especially around, you're right. Uncharted really brought the story to the forefront of that kind of action, adventure, explorer kind of game. And for me, like, when it comes to this game, like, I'm so bought into like the narrative side of things that I don't need this to be like some sort of, I don't need to be a Jedi roaming around with a lightsaber in this game. I literally wouldn't mind if I was playing a smuggler or a bounty hunter or someone just on the outskirts, because I saw what they did with Uncharted, where you have, and obviously there's some different creatives involved, but in Uncharted where you follow, just an average guy, right? No superpowers, right? With just normal gunplay and traversal. Like, if you could do a game like that with, a smuggler or a bounty hunter, like, I think that'd be really engaging. And I kind of fully trust that they'll take it in a really endearing way. You know what I mean? So I think Star Wars has found an entire new way to tell really good stories. Like, if you haven't played Fallen Order, that's fine. You should. It's on sale a lot of the time. So if you could go pick it up on the cheap, I'd absolutely recommend it. But if not, maybe you don't have a system, or or you don't like to play games, go watch the story. Go watch someone else play it. Go watch. There's full playthroughs. There's full, cutscenes. It has a really great story. And so now you have Star Wars able to tell good stories in books, and in TV shows, and in animated shows, and in anime like Visions, and in comics, and in movies, and in video games, right? And so you've given like an entire new avenue, and like, there's probably a lot of people who played Fallen Order who had never read a Star Wars story ever, or who had never like watched the Clone Wars. They probably had only seen the core movies. They were like, oh sweet, more Star Wars. And it's like their first taste of expanded content. And so this is going to expose entire new groups of people and fans to like really interesting Star Wars stories. And it might encourage them to go deeper, right? And go try new things. So I think it's just a great idea for Disney to continue to partner with studios. Like in the case of Eclipse, right? The studio obviously has had some controversy with the director, but as far as quality of game, they've always been really well received, right? Yeah. So if you can keep finding studios that are A, not terrible to their employees, but B, are actually make good quality games, you're going to set yourself up for success, right? You're going to have good hits. And so I like to see the fact that they've now found like another studio to partner with who has a really strong narrative background. So
yeah. I think they did talk about how they now want to explore different genres. Like there was a quick mention, I believe, last year where they said, hey, we know that the fans want an RTS game. And I think as a direct response to that was the Star Wars Squadrons. Like, hey, we remember that some people like flight simulator game, a pure unbridled experience. We're going to give you a little bit of that. There is some sort of RTS game that is being announced. So they're exploring also different genres, which is also equally important.
And Squadrons was fantastic. Great story, too.
Squadrons is so good. It's so hard to play, though, if you're not used to those kind of games. Oh,
that's my god. That's what frustrates me. I haven't started it yet.
See, that's the thing with the remakes of Battlefront and Battlefront 2. I played Starfighter Assault like
Yeah.
almost exclusively, and I was
Right.
like untouchable in those games.
Dude, I wish, like, I watched people play Rogue Squadron, and I even watched, was it Eckhart's Ladder? Someone put on a tournament for it. I don't know if it's Eckhart's Ladder, but someone
Yeah,
did
Eckhart's Ladder and Explained, they were in a tournament
yeah,
for it.
it's so cool, but like, I'm so terrible at those games just because it almost makes me a little motion sick. I'm kind of prone to motion sick.
It is hard when I started playing it. I'll tell you, because like they recommend having the whole like joystick analog thing. I'm playing with my mouse, and I tap the mouse. It just continues to spin until you stop it. So you really got to know like when to control it. It's difficult.
Yeah. Yep, it's true. But to your point, another great game. And you're right, Ben, they have like there's been a lot of rumors about an upcoming RTS in Star Wars.
Mhm.
Oh, it'd be so good. I'd love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Galaxy at War Part 2, man. Let's go.
I'll tell you what I'd really like. My dream project for Star Wars. Well, there's a lot, but like one that's like I'd love to see is if they did an XCOM style game in the Star Wars universe where you had like a group.
That's what this RTS is supposed to be,
right?
Potentially.
That's kind of right. And I've so like there's something specific about the XCOM formula of I love, and I hope they lean into this. I love the games where you can like where you can recruit the characters, whatever the case may be. You can like make them your own, like name them, give them armor, specialize them. And I love to play those with like permadeath on, like the last XCOM. Like I would recruit characters and get them and like name them after my friends. It's like then I'd go to battle with permadeath, and it'd be like, no, I'm gonna get Ben killed. You know, like you have like that extra like I can't get, you know. So like I'd love to do that with like a group of clones, a group of storm, like whatever, a group of bounty, whatever the case may be. I think that would be a phenomenal thing. And it'd be so much fun to play. Like the cool thing about XCOMs where it's turn-based is you can actually like play it with friends and with chat and like make the decisions together. Like the three of us could sit here and have a character and be like, okay, could we go that way? And okay, we've exposed ourselves over here. Like you can play them really like community driven, like with your friends, even if it's a single player game. I really love that. So that'd be phenomenal. But keep doing this. Keep pairing with good studios. Any other thoughts, guys, on this new Star Wars game?
I hope it comes out.
There's one thing that I did want to mention, guys. As much as I loved my Uncharted games, they are traditionally like Devil May Cry, like the early God of War games, except the new one. They are what is called the corridor action games, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the background, which looks pretty, it's beautiful, but you run along this pretty much narrow pathway and you beat everybody's butt. Tomb Raider games, the newer trilogy, kind of expanded a little bit of that. It gave us hub places, right? Get a bigger hub place. From it, you explore other ones. And this is where the latest Jedi Fallen Order sort of picked up. It married the two kind of like different things into one game where it's still pretty much guided pathway, but it still gives you that sense of exploration. Like, hey, what if I revisit this planet and I get to find these secondary optional bosses and stuff like that? Or I go about this pathway and that pathway and I get to explore and find different items. That's what I really want. I don't want the Henning's game to be verbatim like Uncharted titles, because as grand as they look, once you have that past that adrenaline rush of an initial like set action piece, they get old. I want replayability, so I hope they're kind of like larger than Uncharted in terms of gameplay.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Uncharted games are kind of like a one-time experience. It's like a movie. I consider the Uncharted like longer movies.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, we'll have to see. I personally like hope this is not connected to the Skywalker saga in any way.
I don't think it will be.
I would love, like, it wouldn't surprise me if they went to if they went to the High Republic era. It would not. And even if they do something in one of the known, you know, eras of space, I really hope it's in that New Republic era, right? Where we have a lot more freedom. So before our sequel trilogy, or heck, get bold, go after the sequel trilogy. I know they're not going to, but I'd love that as well. Let's just kind of separate it. So it's not like, I don't want to play as like Han Solo. I mean, yeah, that'd be fun and all, but like, I don't, from a story perspective, I don't really.
Let's put the two and two together. It's the previous buzz on Tales of the Jedi, plus Henning's new company, and it's Tales of the Jedi video game.
That'd be dope. That'd be fantastic.
And it plays like Silent Hill.
That'd be dope.
That's different.
Hey, you were talking about the corridor games. I was like, I miss Resident Evil and Silent Hill.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think this is a big deal. I'm very excited about it, and I'd love to see. I expect we're going to get a Fallen Order 2 trailer announcement teaser in just a couple weeks at Star Wars Celebration. Speaking of May, before we get to, I think, the night's second biggest story, we have the upcoming May the 4th be with you sale on Lego, which is always fun. But specifically, I want to talk about this cool little set that came out today. This is this is like Lego's high level collection. If you guys don't know, they're called UCS, and they're like really high end Lego models of certain ships. And we have the Luke's Land Speeder, which I think, like, as someone who has a lot of Legos, if you guys can see behind me, I have the Bad Batch shuttle, I have Slave One, and I have a Mandalorian starship, all in Lego over there. I love to like make the Lego ships. I think they're really fun to put on your shelf. And I think this one with this cool little display is really, really nice. I like the colors to it. I think they did a really great job. I love the fact, like, here you have the exposed wiring. I think this is like absolutely phenomenal attention to detail. And check out the minifigure here. You even have the C-3PO with the dual color leg, which is hard for Lego to do. Like, that's a hard piece to do. So the fact that they've kind of leaned into that here, I think is really cool. Classic kind of farm boy Luke.
I love Luke's model.
And I absolutely want to display this on one of my shelves. I think this is really awesome. I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to be hard for me not to pick this up. I really love the color. It has such a nice retro vibe to it. It's not the sexiest ship in Star Wars, right? It's not the coolest ship.
Hey.
But it was a big deal.
It is to me.
It's a big deal. This
is like the
deal.
classic hot rod of Star Wars vehicles.
Yeah, it is. It's a big deal. It's not like the flashiest, but it is a very important, iconic ship. What do you guys think of this land speeder? It is, I'm going to tell you, it's $200. So this ain't cheap. This is an expensive set. So it's not for the faint of heart, but I really like it. I'm a fan. What do you think, Ben? What do you think of this sexy hot rod?
I'm loving it. It's conforms to the original design, what we see in McQuarrie's like early art concepts.
Yeah.
It is so freaking detailed. I'm the sort of person, like, obviously everybody loves Lego. I don't care who you are, where you're from, everybody loves Lego. But I'm the kind of fan who sort of grew out of the pieces myself. I appreciate the art of it. I appreciate the video games, but I'm drawn to more Lego pieces that approach it hyper-realism. It's almost like the opposite. The way I like my comic books, very stylized. When it comes to Lego, I like it more to be on the realistic end. So when you look at this one, when I saw it, like, oh man, it's really for adults. Like, is it worth the $200 price tag? Hell yeah, it is, because it's so detailed. Like, I'm trying to put myself in in the mindset of a real collector like yourself. I'm like, oh my God, because I used to sell in my game store a lot of those figures, including Star Wars. And I'm not into it, but you at least get to appreciate how other people feel about this, right? So you look at this, I'm like, man, I can't skip on it. Like, if I'm a Lego legit fan, I'm buying this. That's coming out of my rent money or something. I don't know.
I keep focusing on this because I love the use of your medium, right? So Lego using their kind of pieces to show exposed wiring. Like, I love clever details like this. And I gotta be honest with you, like, this little display, I love the little Luke with the little binoculars down here. And then you have this great C-3PO with a little explainer. Like, it's going to be hard for me not to buy this. This is one of them, I think, again, it's not like, the Millennium Falcon. That's $800 though. So, you have to kind of understand the price point you're looking at. I'm very excited about this. Jimmy, you buy some Legos from time to time. What do you think of this set?
So let's see here. I was brought home from the hospital in 1996, wrapped in a blanket and Duplo blocks. So I've known Legos since day one. And this is phenomenal. For starters, let me just get this out of the way. $200 price tag. Guess what? This is cheap.
It is for Lego. Cheap. It is, unfortunately.
You should buy this because you are not going to get a nicer Ultimate Collector Series set like this for $200. It's just not going to happen. Nope. Yes, it's a tiny set, but you get a couple things. One, this is a very screen accurate representation of the land speeder that 3PO minifigure. I promise you, once the set is released, you will see that on eBay for upwards of $80 to $100.
Yeah,
just for that minifigure, because
it's exclusive. You're right, Jimmy. This is exclusive only to this
brand new, exclusive to this set. You are never going to see it in anything else, most likely.
Now, guys, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I was going to ask you a question, both you, Jim, and Josh, because the Lego pieces themselves are a little bit out of scale. Do you feel the compulsion to grab your 8-inch Luke Skywalker and C-3PO figure and put it in there? I'm curious.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of the times I like it when the UCS sets come out because sometimes they are to scale with a minifigure. The new
Yeah.
the Millennium Falcon, I'm
Yes.
almost certain is almost to scale
The new AT-AT is to scale.
with the minifigures. So that's
Yeah.
incredible. And here's the thing: like I own one of the smaller play sets of this speeder. It's not the newest one, but it was one before that. And I still have get this one. I have the Kenner Toys land speeder.
Do you have it like handy? Is it somewhere close by?
I don't. It's at my parents' house. I got it at an auction house.
Oh, that's
Damn.
cool.
Pretty cool.
That
That
is
would be
really cool.
I'd
Yeah.
love to see that.
Yeah. If I actually, I think I'm going to have to go home tomorrow. If I can find it, I'll grab it.
That'd be
Grab it.
awesome. Yeah.
We'd love to see that.
Yeah.
I love this set. I mean, you guys know I'm a collector. I know a lot of people on the channel might not be as big a fan at buying Star Wars stuff as I am, but this one to me is really fun. And one other thing I'll tell you, for May the 4th, that Lego does a little sale, and you get a bonus set. And let's see if I can get this in here. This year's bonus
Oh,
set
that's so cool.
is a
That's
is-
so funny.
the Lars Family Homestead Kitchen with an exclusive minifigure, and you got your little blue milk carton and stuff. Like, how cool is that? That's a little fun little bonus.
Yeah.
set.
So yeah, with purchases over $160, so that set covers it there. And I guess since you're paying over $40, that means you get the ATST too, which that's a pretty. It looks more
yeah,
like an
that's terrible.
ATDP.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, but this is fantastic. This is
Yeah,
absolutely
that's
fantastic.
cute. I love
It
that.
is. It's just for free on there. It's cute.
Plus, I'm almost certain that is the first time we've seen a Lego Aunt Beru.
You are correct. It is
Nice.
the first one.
Guys, I sort of wanted to add to this segment when I knew we were going to talk about Lego. I sort of want to diverge just a tiny bit and butt in with my topic, if you guys don't mind.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
Go for it.
So, right, we are all in the middle of Lego Star Wars, right? Everybody's loving it. I think universally, the
Yes.
fandom has spoken. It's the highest selling Lego game launch ever, right?
If
Yes,
you don't
everybody
like
can-
the game, shut up. Yes, you do.
Right. Exactly. Thank you.
Yes.
I don't know why I have this tendency of not finishing my favorite games. Believe it or not, guys, I have not beaten either Force Unleashed. I just do that. Like,
Wow, I do that
games
too.
are like-
I do
Right?
that too. Yeah, I do.
yeah,
that
like I'm sorry. So I don't know why. We were talking about it last week. We're all enjoying Lego Star Wars. And you guys know me. I'm not generally a collector. I don't have any sort of figures. But there's one game that I liked, and I said, you know what? I don't know why. I have the compulsion to play this.
Disney Infinity.
If you guys know what this is, the Disney Infinity, which you buy basically these Star Wars figures, right? And then you buy the little chipped kind of thing. They're almost like Hero Clicks
Yeah, a little bit.
or Nintendo Amiibos that you kind of like position on a little platform, and you get to run through the entire trilogy of Star Wars. You get the prequels, you get the originals, then you get the sequels. And it's the battle design was made by Team Ninja, so they really intricate
okay,
battle
cool,
system, right?
cool.
There you go. Thank you, Josh. So what happens is it's like if Lego is a bit on the easy side, it's meant to be casual and family oriented. This one you could crank up the difficulty a little bit. It's a little bit more towards our age group, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I've been stuck on this. I don't know why. It's like Lego and this just, for me, they go hand in hand. Obviously, this game is trying to emulate Lego because, like, even when your character dies, it just break into pieces. And all these conversations, every time you bring pieces, Josh, I think that what has inspired me to go back to Infinity. Like, you know what? I got to beat it.
Hey, I love it. I'm here for it.
You guys never touched it, right?
Star Wars, no,
No.
I did not. I never did. I've never done it. Star
Yeah,
Wars,
that
though,
was my
like,
little tiny little segment I wanted to just.
no, I mean, Star Wars to me, like, collecting is like synonymous with Star Wars. Like, from the beginning, it's been a big part of Star
Yeah.
Wars. And I love the community around that. In fact, I have a figure coming this week. I think tomorrow, actually.
Ooh.
I have the Darth Revan 50th anniversary
Hey, nice.
Is this
figure
new?
here. It was new. Well, it was new last year. It just took that long
Oh,
to
it came
ship.
out last year.
Yeah, it was part of the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm. They had
Dang.
kind of the Darth Revan Black series.
Is it easily
Yeah.
available?
It is now. Yeah, you can pick it up now.
See, this one I'd kind of be interested in.
And
It's
I
like
gotta-
if there's one off figure you would get, you would probably pick up like the most iconic character of his time period and just rock that one.
Yeah, like Darth
also,
Nihilus. I have that one, and I want it.
I also got the 501st 50th anniversary Hasbro figure.
Sick.
A 501st Trooper. I love Star Wars collecting. As people know, I bought the Trapper Wolf helmet a couple weeks ago. It'll be out next year. It's I don't know. It's just like part of the fun for me is repping Star Wars. I got my Darth Maul hat on. Like it's part of the. I know it's like it's a weird thing because it's like, you know, you're making, you know, these mega corporations more money. But to
Doing
me,
it
it's
for
just
yourself, man.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's part of the.
Shut up and
It's
take my money.
it's part of the. It's just part of the experience. I don't know. I
Look, I'll
love it.
tip my hat to you when you buy the real full-sized AT&T. That's actually drivable.
Oh my gosh!
All
one
right.
day.
Well, one of these
one
days.
day,
One day, right?
one day.
Hey Ben, where did you park the Death Star?
Yeah. They did put an article. They did
It's
put an
in my
article in here.
backyard.
Yeah, it's my backyard. Awesome. Really excited. I'm really excited for the set. I would plan to pick it up.
Yeah.
Really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well.
And I learned something new today. I didn't realize that it's hard for Lego to double paint a single piece.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
I never
because they
knew that.
print it. They like screen print it, and so it's expensive to like have this dual. So you'll see even here, Ben, on the arms, there's a pattern.
Right.
That's rare. Like Lego doesn't do a lot of arm prints. It's more
Mm.
expensive. It's a weird shape. It's like it's a more so that's why they cost so much. And yes, I actually
makes
can.
sense.
And that's such a shame too, because way back in the day, I remember the first Star Wars set I ever got was the I think it was called Droid Escape. It was R2 3PO and the escape pod, like the one from like 2000.
Yes, absolutely. I had that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it had a bunch of printed pieces in it, and a lot of those sets had printed pieces. But as inflation happens and prices got more expensive, they had to revert to printing a bunch of stickers for the decals just to make the sets inexpensive, which is a shame. But I mean,
Did you ever have any like prequel era set pieces like with the little droids or Naboo, something like that?
oh yeah, I had.
Nice.
I could sit here and tell you every set I had. It'd take me a while, but I've had hundreds.
That's dope.
And so this was what Scott wanted to see here. I love this one. This is a really cool one as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love this ship, and in a show, in whatever iterations they show of it, is
It's a great ship.
fantastic.
One day we'll get a UCS here. Guarantee it. It'll be cool.
It'll be awesome.
All right, guys. Off the Legos. We have a lot of fun with Legos, so I want to talk about the new ship, but we have a bigger story. Before I switch, I want to give everyone like a couple seconds. We're going to look at some promo material for Kenobi. So if you are trying to stay away from like all trailers, all everything, click away now. We're going to talk about a little bit of Kenobi. Nothing spoiler because it's official, it's official artwork, but
Yeah.
I just want people who are trying to stay like dark and not see anything, click away, get out of here. We love you. We'll see you again when Kenobi comes out in our next videos. Okay. With that being said, let's transition over to some new Kenobi promo art seen in the wild. So this was on some promo material, looks at some sort of retailer. We're going to start seeing more and more of these pop up. I have some up close views. First of all, this was another thing that came out today was this press release. It has the same banner. And it says Obi-Wan Kenobi begins 10 years after the dramatic events of the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan Kenobi faced his greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his best friend and Jedi apprentice, Anakin Skywalker, who turned to the dark side as the evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. And, the series stars, yada, 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 yada. So it seems like this is going to be a banner they're going to use in a lot of material. This is kind of more of our hyper zoomed in version of this right here. And then even more so, we have even more up close views of this down here. Now, I want to go back to this, and Jimmy and I kind of disagreed a little bit. I actually really like this art. Jimmy's, I don't think was as big a fan. To me, this is like super prequel-y. It looks super prequel-y. Like I swear I saw these same kind of displays for the prequels with the hyper glossy Darth Vader helmet. Do you guys know what I mean? Like the prequels were big on the glossy Vader helmet look. And I see that here. And this looks just like you. This just looks. I mean, it's Ewan McGregor. I mean, he just looks like
Yeah,
So
this looks like Doug Chang styled art.
To me, it's like when I looked at this, I was like, okay, it's super prequel-y.
Yeah.
But one thing, I think this middle like fight scene, I think might be a bait. Because if you look at the zoomed up close version, Darth Vader's not really facing the right way. Like he's not. In my professional opinion.
Okay.
Like he's
Enlighten me.
So if you look at and I can't get the most zoomed up, but if you look at like Darth Vader has it up like this, his helmet looks like straight down. Kenobi's like to the right. Like he wouldn't be looking. I think they cut this together from like a fight scene. I think they cut it for the art is my point. Like I don't think this is a real shot of the fight scene. That's just kind of my personal read. I think they just took some concept art or some whatever and put it on a promo. I don't know if this is like part of the actual duel. I do think they're going to fight, but I don't know if this is like our first look at the epic battle because Vader is not facing the right way. And I think that was just to fit the picture. I think they just moved it to fit the promo art. But what do you guys think of this promo art? Are you, first of all, it's going to be really cool to see Star Wars promo stuff up again at the stores and stuff. That's always really fun. But let's start with you, Ben. What do you think of this Kenobi promo art that we've started to see pop up in the wild?
As far as the art piece itself goes, it's lovely. I mean, I love it. I love the composition. I love that this scene is happening between them. It almost feels like a dreamlike sequence. Is it really going to happen in their dream? Is it going to be just Anakin raging in his bacta tank and just imagining, fueled by anger, this scene where he's going to go at him and one day kill him? And surely enough, we see it in episode 4 later on. And I totally hear you. Definitely, as far as perspective goes in that particular centerpiece, they're definitely misaligned because Vader, his direction where he's looking at, where he's about to strike, Obi-Wan Kenobi is not standing there, and vice versa. So it's kind of different. I wouldn't read too much into it because as far as the art goes, they might somebody just signed off on it and say, yeah, that's fine. They're in the center. That's cool.
Yeah.
In a way, it's a really weird feeling when I saw this art piece. It gave me this peace of mind where I sort of dread that sequence, that it needs to be, the entire show needs to be very right. And this particular scene, the action between the two, the duel, needs to be the pinnacle of the show. It needs to be so emotional, so good, and not override what we see in episode 4. But because we get to see it visually now, guys, I'm thrown back to 1999 with a whole promo art for prequels. At least we are visually prepared for, hey, it's happening. It's here. Get used to it. It kind of makes you jump out of your own self-contained box of like, no, this is what I want to see. It's showing you what it's going to be. You could be here on one side and set your expectations super high or trying to dream about what will never come. Like all like sequel haters who say like, oh, they abandoned all the books. They didn't abandon that. They told you in 2015 they're not continuing them. Lucasfilm, Del Rey, they have been transparent about what they're doing. It's you guys who set yourselves up. Same here. If you're expecting something from Obi-Wan Kenobi that it's not going to be, well, you're shooting yourself in the foot because it's showing you this is the battle. It looks very rousing. Again, as far as the art goes, looks phenomenal. But now let's step it up. Let the actual thing itself be like as good as this.
I love like the feeling of like new Star Wars coming back out. It's always exciting, isn't it? Jimmy, what are your thoughts?
So, and this is why we disagreed on it. I'm glad I can actually give some context here. So the artwork is great. I love it. You're absolutely right. That is episode 3 Vader there. I just don't think this is good promotional material for the show. This looks like it should be on toy box art. Like and
I could see that being on toy box art. Yeah.
Check your Twitter DMs. I sent you a picture and you'll see what I'm talking about because specifically the picture we have there, it's a very painted cover of Kenobi. That is going to go on the end of a box for light up lightsabers. And I sent that's what it's going to be on. It's just weird to me. I see it as advertising for toy sales, which that's what Star Wars is. That's fine. That's weird that's the image we're getting because it just doesn't seem like it doesn't look as polished as what the rest of the Star Wars promotional stuff has been.
I have a feeling this is probably going to be in a toy section. To your point, Jimmy. I have a feeling this is going to be like in a Target. Like toy.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't follow Jim here. If I may respectfully disagree.
Yeah, sure.
In what way do you feel that it's unrefined?
It just doesn't match up with what I've seen for the rest of the Star Wars promotional material for all the other shows and movies that we've gotten. I don't know. It's just throwing me off. It's just weird.
Gotcha. But let's agree for a second that what we're seeing is like right below it, right? There's like just stacks of toys, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or, and like I said, like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying this has to be directed for a toy line or a clothing line or something.
I follow you. Okay.
No, makes total sense. I think so. One thing, Jimmy put out a short a couple of weeks ago when we had our first picture of Vader from the show revealed, and it's one of the most viewed videos on the channel. There's a little short, and we had a ton of response, a ton of feedback, and I got to tell you, and we'll have like a full conversation about this as we lead up, but there is a lot of discourse around the rematch. about whether they should meet again and how they should meet, etc. So to Ben's point, the stakes are going to be really high emotionally within the film. And, we're going to talk about it a little bit. To me, I think if it's executed well, it has a chance to like landmark itself as one of the best Star Wars projects we've ever gotten. If you miss, it's definitely gonna. It's
gonna hit the rock bottom, man. Fans are gonna rip it apart, especially you guys. Your generation, forget it, man.
It will be our generation. Yeah,
it could be the best fight ever. It could have the most perfect choreography ever in history. Someone's still gonna say it sucks.
Yeah. Can I blaspheme for a little bit?
Go for it.
If this fight is half as good as that YouTube fight that one guy put together,
oh my gosh,
half as good, we're gonna go insane, man.
Yeah, we are.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We are. We're gonna have a lot about Kenobi on the channel, so we don't have to beat this to death. But we're gonna be talking a lot about it in the next couple of weeks. Like this show could really be, for me, a prequel era fan, especially. Like this has got to be. I'm more excited for this than anything we've gotten Star Wars in in so long. So anyway, this is kind of our first promo art. Expect more and more of it. The show is only it's a month and 4 days away, guys. More and more this is going to start popping up. If the show's great, man, I'm going to be buying that Kenobi hot toy, the Vader, I'm going to be buying it all, baby. But
hold on a second. What if it's like Invitation to Mass? What if it's like just Jesus hiding behind that Star Wars?
I have several questions.
So hey, here's one thing I will say, just for food for thought. We'll pick it up again. I do kind of wonder if they are actually never going to have them meet face to face. To Ben's point, I do wonder if they're going to do dream sequence, vision sequence, more so than an ever actual confrontation.
I'd rather have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Some fans will and some fans won't. We'll talk about this. We'll make a whole video, guys, about like the rematch. But some fans will like that. There will be some fans who are like, no, they're going to fight. So we'll figure it out then. Exciting times.
They'll get over it.
Nonetheless.
I saw one guy saying like, this show's going to be terrible and everyone's going to forget it after a week. I'm like, you're delusional.
I saw someone say that as well. Let's talk about the last story I had for the day. Just a little update. I saw this on several different sites today.
This is new to me.
Yeah, The Acolyte is reportedly expected to film later this year. So October 2022 into May 2023, which sounds right, like what we've been told. Come out probably late 2023 or early 2024. You guys know how I feel about The Acolyte. More and more rumors come out, seem to indicate it's going to connect a little bit to it's end of the High Republic era into the prequels. I'm expecting some Darth Plagueis. I'm here for it. It's a character that has existed for a long time. Haven't had a lot of canon in. So you have a lot of free reign with you have a lot of free reign with Plagueis. Honestly, there is obviously the novel, but honestly, it's hard to ruin Plagueis, if that makes sense. It's not like there's really anything to ruin it. Palpatine, obviously, there's a legacy, etc.
Careful.
You're right. But I mean, it's not like you're taking. Okay, so when The Last Jedi changed Luke, I don't even think changed, but when they presented Luke in a different period in his life, fans had some sort of mixed reaction, right? We're not going to get into that, but my point is, it's hard to feel that way about Plagueis. There's not
I would disagree.
His head won't be too long. It'll be
too entirely disagree, man. He is for a short limited of lore that he has in Legends. People are revere him. He's an icon. He's oh my god.
It's true. It's true. I guess I'm talking to the mainstream, the people who don't read. The people who don't read books, the people who only heard. Did you ever hear, the Legend of Darth Plagueis? Right? The people who only have. There are people. I mean, we have to remember. You guys know this, but we as mega fans have to remember there are people that do not know anything about some of these characters outside of the lines in the movie. So, when they hear Darth Plagueis, I would almost bet 25 to 30% of Star Wars fans, people who've seen Star Wars, have no idea. That's a throwaway line to them because they haven't watched Revenge of the Sith in 10 years, and they were like, "Oh, I like that," And there's a small percent of people who know the lore. A lot of people who remember that line as a meme. Did you ever hear that? It's a meme line now more than anything.
Yep.
And so they have a lot of freedom. I guess is in my head, they have freedom to really do something with the character. Palpatine, not so much. Although some people hate that Palpatine was in The Rise of Skywalker, so they already kind of ruined that character. So I mean, at the end of the day, hey, let's get Big Head in there. Let's get Plagueis going. I'd love to see it.
Look, I'm excited for this. I want the Acolyte to open with Tenebros killing his master, man. Like, I'm aiming big for this. It's not going to happen. But
I think Acolyte's a huge. We've talked about it a lot. I think Acolyte, and it's not because it has anything to do with the High Republic. It's just because it doesn't have anything to do with the Skywalker saga. Although I think it might kind of
but
connect.
then again,
Yeah, but not like to the core. If you interact, like, so the High Republic has Yoda in it, right? Doesn't mean it's part of the Skywalker saga, right? So if the Acolyte kind of keeps us away from that core era, I'll be happy. But we'll have to wait and see.
All right, you guys ready for a hot take?
Do it.
Sure.
Come in screaming hot.
Don't care about Plagueis. Never did. Darth Plagueis to me is like Dragon Ball Z style, where you introduce a villain who is so powerful and magnificent, but then when you kick his ass, he's down to 2. What do you got to do? You got to introduce somebody else who's even more powerful, more dark side power, a more unlimited power. And then in the prequels, we see Palpatine, which fans love and identify with as one of the strongest Sith, the strongest Sith of that era, right? Well, arguably, there's not a lot of those guys running around, but he's like considered to be, and George Lucas also calls him officially one of the strongest ones, right? I never understood the notion of why we need somebody else on top of him. Hey, but there was another one who's even more powerful. Let me just tell you, Jimmy, don't laugh. Hold on a second. Let me teach you.
well,
There
okay,
used to be a guy,
teach me.
Right? He's even more powerful. But I bet you that Plagueis, he also had a master who looked even more goofy and ridiculous than him, but he was even more powerful. You know what I mean? It's like you go down that like rabbit hole and it's never ending. Like, dude, can we just focus on one?
So the reality,
And I agree, because you have Palpatine was so powerful, he came back from the dead. I'm like, yeah, and Nihilus 8 planets. So what do you want me to do?
yeah, the Sith
Right, but at the same time, they're always going
Dragon
to
Ball
die
Z
like
syndrome.
that. They're always going to die with no dignity. We've even seen that in history with Caesar.
Yeah,
He was almighty, all powerful. What happened? He just died.
the Sith have the kind of classic problem of the idea is like the Jedi have a number, like they have numbers, right?
right.
The Sith are few but extremely powerful. So you have this issue, like authors do and creatives do, where it's like, okay, we have to say that these 2 are a threat to these hundreds, right? So their power has to be like ridiculous, because it's like, and this is a problem they've had forever. Like, this is the thing about the rule of 2. It really makes your storytelling kind of limited, because it's like, well, if this is one of the reasons I really love the prequels, though, is the idea is like, and again, whether you think it was executed well or not, it's a different story. But to me, the payoff, of like, Palpatine being like, there's only 2 of us. I didn't like become a god and eat all of you. I like tactically planned and spent my entire life leading up to this moment where I would do a whole political conspiracy to overthrow all of you. And then the limited ones of you left, I have enough power in the dark side. And I also took your most powerful Jedi and turned him to my cause. Like, this is my design. Like, I did this, I win. Like, that's why I love episode 3. It's like that culmination of like a life's work of like completely devoting yourself. And he didn't win by becoming like a forced planet eater. He won by like, look, I can't take out hundreds of Jedis, so I'm going to politically maneuver myself, set them up in a giant trap, capture them, and then pick off the remaining ones because I took their strongest Jedi and turned them to me. Like, I love that stuff. I eat that stuff up. And so
yeah, like Palpatine to the Sith was Thrawn to the Navy. He just let it all happen. He didn't really technically do anything personally himself. It just kind of happened around him. And I mean, like the last Sith Lord to go out with a bang was probably Bane. I mean, he had a legit one-on-one fight with Zana, and he didn't go out like a whatever.
Bane would actually, I think Bane to the earlier point before we, as we probably wrap this topic up, I think Bane actually would be a really cool character to like get some more canon on, because his story is like an interesting kind of predicament of how you handle like the dark side and how you kind of contain it and make sure it's not like how you can channel it to make like the best versions of the Sith. I think that's like an interesting kind of, it's not just like a brute force story. It's kind of a story of how to survive your belief and like craft a system that can allow it to flourish. It's kind of an interesting, interesting situation.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Acolyte though. Regardless of anything we said, like this to me, like, hey, it's I gotta be honest with you.
Please, just someone else. All new story, please.
I gotta be honest, yeah, and I don't know if Plagueis will be in it. It just wouldn't surprise me. Like if he was just there, like yeah. I will tell you, like every time, even though I'm a huge fan of some of the Mandalorian episodes in particular, every time we get a show with a new creative team, so Kenobi's a new creative team, and Acolyte's a new creative team, my excitement level is actually a little higher because it feels like it could be something totally new, right? Like Book of Boba Fett, I was super excited about, but it to me felt like it was going to be very Mando-esque, and it did. It felt super like Mandalorian. So with the Acolyte, it's a different creative team than Book of Boba Fett, which is a different creative team than Kenobi, right? So that to me gives me like it's going to be fresh, and that excites me. That excites me a lot. Well, guys, those were the main stories I want to talk about today. We had a lot of like little stuff this week, new book covers, new Lego, new video game announcement, which was super exciting. Was there anything else on your radar this week you guys want to talk about?
Let's see here.
Good talk.
Good talk. I mean, no, it's
I've still just been engulfed with Lego Star Wars and just enjoying how phenomenal that game's turned out. I just beat the original trilogy. I think I'm going to start episode 1 tonight. See how the prequels hold up.
Love it.
I was sort of reminiscing, guys, this week. I'm getting a little bit more into the habit of, I guess I started with Twitter just to try to understand the platform. Like, what's the buzz? Why is everybody there? How does it work mentally? Because, when you observe internet grow and transform into this social event thing, you also want to try to understand like this other thing, right? Due to that I've been ignoring for a long time. So I said something controversial on it.
What'd you do?
Yeah, and then it's like people went at it with you, like, oh my God, how dare you don't know stuff. Let us explain to you, because apparently Twitter has the most legit, advanced, high-level experts who know Star Wars the way that I simply don't. My 30 plus years of following Star Wars just don't count. I don't cut it, guys. So we were talking about Sith, actually, which kind of ties into our earlier conversation.
I'm excited for this. What did you do?
And obviously, when you're dealing with people from different generations, people gravitate toward different things. They highlight different things. I understand that. But you also need to understand that if you're on a public forum like Twitter, people are going to come at you from different angles and highlight something that they enjoy, right? And if you're not an a-hole, you're going to say like, hey, well, okay, I like what I like, but I see where you're coming from. Anyway, somebody made a post about like one of the bigger Twitterers, who is the most powerful Sith out there? And it was Palpatine. I guess I picked like when you see like snarky remarks on Twitter, because exactly that's what the feed wants you to do, and kind of like
it does, yes, it does,
right?
Yes.
It's built. The feed is built for people to get angry with one another.
Yes.
And I wrote in that tweet that Exar Kun would trample Palpatine like a cockroach that he is. He is a henchman, a water boy, a go-getter of the last generation of the Sith that meant nothing, dude. And people just exploded. Like, what are you saying? But George Lucas said this and that. It all comes, and it makes you kind of like self-analyze, and you'll always highlight something that first. Like, for example, today made another post about who is your favorite Star Wars narrator. And people vote for the best one, like they know everyone else, but they really don't. They just vote for the guy that they do know. You know what I'm saying? I think the same thing with Exar Kun, where he is my Sith to go to. I'm not even trying to say that the rest of them are bad, but it's just a funny exchange. It's like, the more I learn about Twitter, the more I realize how it's deliberately built to mislead, misguide, and just channel and fuel your aggression. Like, oh my God, people are just like, if you're looking for ultimate justice warriors, if you're looking for people who are looking for conflict and explain to you how you just inferior in your Star Wars knowledge, Twitter, man, let's go there.
Twitter is, and I think it's a great point here by GFet, which is with a character limit, you're only really allowed to say high level ideas, right? So what works on Twitter, no, but he's right. Because like what works on Twitter is zingers. like snappy responses, witty comebacks. Like that's what works on Twitter. That's why a lot of this generation is kind of more into it, because it's a lot of just like, get owned, right? It's a little bit of that. And like I personally, like Twitter is for me, it's just like I'm really positive on Twitter, because it's just not a place to be negative. It's just not the place. There's not any sort of, there's no nuance to me on Twitter. It's a lot of like black and white. So and people, they tend to your point, like it's a hot take machine where like I'm a huge Batman fan, right? And I love the Batman. We've talked about it. It came out on HBO Max this week. So I've watched it, and now it's like time for some of the people to come in and like give their Batman takes. And it's like, it can't be like, it can't be good or bad. It's like, it can't be like in the middle. It's garbage or it's the best thing ever, Yeah. And it's like, and so there's no middle ground. So like, and people know that. So they'll be like, oh, I just watched the Batman, like 3 hours dumpster fire. It's like, there's, like, it's like, that's what works. Right. So you just kind of have to know, like,
and that's why I like trying to be so positive on Twitter. Because for one, I'm trying to keep it professional. I'm trying to run a big channel, and I want it to get bigger. I want to be professional with it.
Keep it professional.
And I've had such a great response with that, because when I'm like calm and nice to people that are like attacking me, they're like suddenly like, recommend me some stuff. I'm like, see, it works.
I'm not fighting back. I'm here for a discussion.
Yeah. Right? Versus on Facebook, all of my experiences, it's like World War I trench warfare. It is every man for himself. Don't even try. Every time like the official Disney account like posts something about Star Wars, don't even click that comment button. Whoa.
To me, like this, as we're kind of winding down, I will say this is the best format for talking Star Wars face to face, right? This is the way to do it. Because if you go in assuming someone's your enemy or someone like you're off to a bad start, and then you kind of, there's no inflection, there's no passion via text, right? So you're kind of able to just double down, and then you don't have to see anyone, so you can feel a little empowered to be a little bold.
Yeah. There's no responsibility to what you say. Like, you don't even think twice about how you may affect other person.
I think, like, there were some times when I was making more confrontational YouTube videos where, people would come in, and even when I was making like really calm videos where it was just me telling my opinion, people come in and rip me up, and it's like
people were looking for your address, bro.
Yeah, there were times where it's like I'd respond like snarky back, and I'd always regret it. I'd go delete it and then respond like, hey, I should have said that, and I get the temptation, and like Twitter just really feeds into that. Twitter really feeds the temptation of snarky. Yeah. It's built for that. I mean, it's, I don't know. It's just how it's built. So
here's the fun thing. I'm glad GFS said this. He said the only thing that is objectively bad is Attack of the Clones, and I will not argue. Since I started working in my retail job, my coworker and I have discussed the differences between objective and subjective. And considering all of us have different opinions about Attack of the Clones, it cannot be objectively bad. It is impossible. But that sentence in itself is subjective. So
and there you go.
Everyone that says this is objectively bad, you're just wrong. Nothing can be objective.
The mind does not work in objectively like viewing the truth. The psychologists talk about how it's difficult to even perceive the environment around us. We constantly have to like judge and measure things. Hey, is it hot or cold? Is it night or day? We constantly measure and assess everything. I assess like the color of your shirt. We constantly judge everything.
Well, we also have to justify. Like, we also have to justify, like, and this is one thing that's happened a lot with like movies that come out, and Rotten Tomatoes has been kind of part of this, which is like you have to kind of legitimize your position, right? So if a movie comes out, you have to somehow like like whether it's the box office, whether it's critic reviews, like you have to bolster your opinion. Like, and I'm guilty of this too. Like, it's really, we've kind of become where it's not good enough to say I like something, right? It's not good enough. Like, I have to know other people agree with me. Right. Or it doesn't feel like my opinion's valid, if that makes sense. Like, that's what we've kind of like, let me give you an example. Like, I eat McDonald's. I don't care what anyone thinks. I like McDonald's. I have it occasionally. I enjoy it. There's one close to my house. It's cheap. It's quick. Like, and if someone came up to me and was like, McDonald's sucks, I'd be like, dude, I don't care. Like, it wouldn't bother me. Like, I can do that.
Man,
with
that sucks. Meanwhile, I'm eating McChicken.
I can do that with McDonald's. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
But someone comes in, they're like, oh, the Batman's not good. It's like, that bothers me. And I'm like, well, no, it's good. And like, if you look at all these critics, they say it's good. And you look at the box office, it's like, I don't know why the internet's made that a thing, but it has. And like I find myself getting into it all the time. Like I remember this happened to Star Wars fans with the sequel era, right? And it's hard to just be like, okay, I like The Last Jedi, because you're told every day like that's not a legitimate opinion. Like you're wrong. And I've had it, like I remember when Batman vs Superman came out, like I really loved it. You know, critics overwhelmingly didn't. It didn't perform like as well as people thought it would at the box office. And so it's like it delegitimized my opinion. You know what I mean? And it felt like in the online space that like I didn't have a valid, you know, thought. And so I don't know what it is about the internet, but that's just something that's kind of come up. Is
it's gang mentality amplified because, you know, before pre-internet, I don't know, maybe it's a cultural difference as well, right? I come from a different part of the world.
It's true. Yeah.
We were so self-assertive. It's like, hey, I like this. Shut up, man. Like, I don't care what you like. Your opinion will not change mine. But now when you get into space where you can connect with other like-minded individuals, now you can gang up on somebody. Like, well, see, like when I made one comment on Twitter that I never enjoyed strict guided timeline about Star Wars Legends books, and literally Star Wars Expanded Universe.com guy goes like, well, here's a kid talking about his channel is called Star Wars Timeline, but he's talking about how he doesn't care about this. He took it instantly out of proportion, out of context, and just blew it like in a completely different direction. I'm like, really? Is this what this platform is for?
Yeah,
You're
it
not
turns
even
into
trying to understand me.
It turns into, you know, are you arguing because you like Star Wars, or do you like to win?
Yeah.
Are you trying to win? And so like, I'm saying, like, I'm not coming at GFN. I love that he made the objective comment, because that's something you see so constantly, and you're just like,
and he was joking. He was joking.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And every time I say it, I'm like, that's not what that word is used for. So like everyone on Twitter that uses that and like truthfully like, oh, The Last Jedi is objectively bad.
Camps.
I need you to look up what objectively means.
Yeah.
I will tell you as we wrap it up here. My last thought, if you guys ever want to. So Ben, I remember a couple weeks ago, he tagged some people with a question about Star Wars, and I forget what this account was, but they like responded like, "I'll never watch Disney, like Star Wars. Don't ever respond, like don't ever copy me on here ever again."
Yeah, and I was like, dude,
like,
I even got in on that. I was like, hey, bro, leave.
Yeah, Ben got.
You're not gonna bring that here.
Ben got like slapped. They were
like, Ben shut him up too, and I was like, nice.
Yeah, Ben did shut him up. That was funny. So if you ever want to see someone get bullied on Twitter, go follow Ben and see his struggles.
Meanwhile, Josh and I bully with kindness, so we'll just be so nice to you that you're just like, whatever.
I'm just the evil Russian in the group, guys. That's what I do. We're innately evil people.
That's, I mean, he said it, not me.
As an
all right, guys.
I cannot comment.
Yeah, geez. Well, it was. I mean, so here's the thing. Well, as we're thinking about the future, I want to talk a little bit about our plans for Kenobi. So I think I'll talk to these guys offline, but I think I'm going to put a poll out there on how we want to cover the premiere. I think our original plan was to do like a stay up late watch party, and put like this view, and put like have a timer somewhere where you can see where we are in the episode, watch through them, and have a great time for everyone staying up late. And then the folks who get up the next day can watch them with us on the channel because they'll be uploaded.
We'll have snacks.
We'll premiere it, so like maybe jump into the chat group if possible. I'll probably try to make it if you guys are working on the day.
Yeah, I would. I think Jimmy will be off, and I will plan to take the day off if we do that.
Yeah.
So
it's
Friday.
It's on a Friday. I mean, I have work the next day, but I mean, I don't go until 1. So
yeah. So let us know. We will go ahead and put some feelers out there for you guys. We'd love to hear it. And we've also been talking behind the scenes about some other ways to interact with the community. So some more news on there. We're going to talk to Ben and Jimmy about that. Some ideas coming up later. But it's going to be a really exciting month. We have May the 4th in only a little over a week. We have Star Wars Celebration, and we have Kenobi. It's going to be a huge month. May will be absolutely massive. So we're very excited for what's to come. I mean, it's when you start making, it becomes like this thing, and I think you guys have felt this too. When you go from being a fan to being a fan who tries to make some content, it takes on like a whole different kind of feeling, because like a big story drops and you just want to make a video right away. You want to talk about it. But maybe you're at work because we have full-time jobs, all of us, because we don't, we're small YouTubers. And so we can't make a video right away. And so by the time you get home, it's like all the big channels have made it and you feel like, oh, dang, no one's going to want to hear what I have to say about this. So it can be kind of like this double-edged sword where it's like you can't wait to just enjoy the content, but you also want to share it with your fans, and you got to be a little late to the game. So it can be hard during these big announcements to stay up to date. So we're going to try to find ways where we can be live with you, connecting with you during these kind of fun breakout moments.
You learn to pick your battles and choose which content to just enjoy and which ones you can actually make a video on,
It's a good point.
It's hard.
It is. Yeah. It is. All right, guys. Well, that's another great Thursday. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Any other closing thoughts, Jimmy, Ben, as we wrap up the stream?
I'm just happy that I had a rough day getting here, so I'm just happy that we got to sit down and talk about the best thing in the world, which is Star Wars. So,
yeah, definitely feel better, man.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah, I want to cut my nose off, man.
Allergy season. Allergy season. Well, thanks everyone for stopping by. Again, big couple weeks coming up. We are loved having you here. Make sure you like, subscribe. Let us know what you want to see in the coming weeks, coming months, and be on the lookout for some new content on the way. Until next time, guys, we'll see you again very soon.